I lost it. I think he was called Nick. He got it absolutely right. He called it perfectly on both inflation and the jobs tax. And then I did what I've started doing recently since Keith showed me how to do it. I clicked on the button that lets me see people's past messages to the programme. And he's a bit of a genius. He did extremely well. So well done you, whatever your name is. I think it might have been Nick. 12:19 is the time. She does this a lot. Shall I just do my customary run-through of text before we crack on? We'll start with Steph, who's up north. She writes, "Oh my, listening to Badenoch reminds me of when I was a trainee solicitor getting sent off to deal with a case in my blue suit and eagerly pressed white blouse. Naive, lacking in credibility and just sounding plain stupid. Amazing to think that I could have been leader of the Tory party." Chris writes, "She's all over the shop today, but happily adds, loved the show so far." Kemi Badenoch looks like the stooge feeding lines to the star of the show. I hope she stays, but I seriously doubt it. John says, "I thought Kemi Badenoch did better than usual to begin with, and then fell on the front foot. No, she fell on the front foot and then ran out of steam." That's from John in Liverpool. He gave a comprehensive answer and she said he hasn't answered the question. She is awful, says Darren. That's often a good criticism of Keir Starmer, but it wasn't on this occasion. He did give a fairly comprehensive answer. Genuinely, writes James, and I mean this in all sincerity, what is wrong with her? And Agatha picks up on the use of the phrase stop whining. Does she think she speaks to some stroppy child? Conservatives mention the cost of living crisis, forgetting who brought it all on us. And then Alice picks up on her call for people to put their hands up and asks, WTF? Well, this is literally school-level stuff. One more, actually. There's loads today. I'm a floating voter, says Steve in Lancashire. I'd never consider voting Tory with Badenoch in charge. Just woeful at best. That's it.
I just thought I'd leave that hanging there.
Yeah, I like it. A little bit of tension.
I thought her performance was a little better this week. She'd obviously had a little bit of Weetabix. So had he. They both came at it from quite a strong point of view. They were both, really going at each other. But what she didn't do, which is what you do in Prime Minister's Questions, when you are aware that the government are about to change policy on something, she rightly questioned him, are you going to U-turn on winter fuel and when's it going to happen? He then confirmed he was going to majorly change his position, the government's position on winter fuel, and she just ignored it and just let it go. That is when you really need to hammer someone at Prime Minister's Questions. You go back and say, and that is the Prime Minister, confirming what we all have been hearing for weeks, that the Prime Minister is looking at an embarrassing U-turn on his major policy. This is awful, and the Tories and the opposition have forced him into it. That is exactly how you create a win in the House of Commons. And it felt like she didn't really listen to his answer because, like you said, she just said, well, he's not really answered the question. Yes, he has. He said
because both our ears,
all
four of our ears pricked up when he started talking about it. It would only happen as part of a fiscal event, which is politician for it's going to happen.
Exactly. And that was very, very strong from him, saying he's going to change the threshold. It is going to happen at a fiscal event. We will do it when we can find the money for it. This is a huge major change for Keir Starmer that he's just announced. And of course, he will get some flack for it. And there are, as Kemi Badenoch pointed out, 300 and so MPs that have voted for this winter fuel cut at an incredibly damaging cost to them and their constituencies. People's mailboxes and emails have been full of people talking about this issue for months. And now the government are announcing a partial, at least, U-turn on that. And she didn't even pick up on it.
We listened. We reflected, we realised
government is in listening mode.
That on this occasion we had perhaps elected the wrong recipient of our much needed fiscal strictness, and therefore we have decided to listen to the voters and return the winter fuel allowance. They can write that out 4 years out from a general election.
Exactly, and I think they have realised the real strength of this. But yes, I thought that generally the sort of words that Keir Starmer and the government are now using on the economy is starting to change. They keep now saying, as the economy improves, we understand people are still feeling the pressure, but things are starting to look up. And you heard Rachel Reeves, when she was speaking earlier this week to LBC, use that exact argument.
It's quite a flex, isn't it? Well, we can abolish we can bring back the winter fuel allowance because everything's going so well.
Well, not that it's going so well, but it's going to get better, yes, and that's when we will find the money to do so. So it very much feels that the language from government has changed in the last couple of weeks. But equally, Kemi Badenoch able to sort of argue that this is all because of the Tories. She clearly didn't feel like that was something that she could do, potentially because the Tories have now fallen to fourth in the polls, according to one poll out this week, behind the Liberal Democrats. So she's not doing too well. I thought the topics were all right. Inflation, jobs tax, winter fuel, all quite good. I thought her delivery was quite good, but to miss that open goal, I didn't feel like there was...
and she does the thing that probably is going to typify her PMQs appearances for however long she stays in post, which is anything she picks on, he's got a very easy comeback. Inflation is 2%, you're wrong, or 2, what is it today? 3.5%?
Yeah, 3.5%.
Inflation is, it was 11 under you.
Exactly.
Next question.
Next, carry on.
And, well, that was because of the Ukraine war, which the last time I checked hasn't finished.
Yeah.
So it's not very good at it.
No, and the hands up thing, it doesn't work. Which Labour MP is going to put their hands up and say, I'm very upset about this?
Unless she's got the guts to actually really string it. To say, come on, put your hands up. And literally awkward silence.
I didn't
wait
think
until
it
the
worked.
speaker. It
It's
didn't
not a
work. I'm
classroom.
just wondering. I would have quite liked to see whether or not all the loyalists would eventually have put their hands in the air. I don't know, but no, it was an incredible thing to do. But then, as my texts today reflect, quite a lot of what she does seems incredible, doesn't it?
But yes, I thought that was a tricky moment for her. Don't think she really quite pulled that off.
How much danger is she in? That poll changes something.
It does, and I was actually speaking to some MPs earlier this week about this and sort of how long does she have. But actually, they think that things are still going to get worse for the Tories. They're going to lose a lot of seats in the Scottish elections next year and the Welsh elections.
So let someone else carry the count.
There's no point getting rid of yet because it's just going to get worse.
She's going to start looking like Rishi Sunak soon, isn't she? That she can't wait to reach the finish line.
Exactly, but she's not there yet.
Why do we never see Robert Jenrick at PMQs?
Is he not? Because he's not there.
Front bench, or would you not expect
question.
him to be showing solidarity?
You absolutely would, and you saw Keir Starmer sitting next to today, Angela Rayner, and a show of support after that story that we've seen, which Kemi Badenoch rightly seized on, and I think it was sort of good to do. And we're watching images now of Vet Cooper on there on the front bench. Can't see that Robert Jenrick is here. Doesn't mean that he's not there or that he's not been there. He should be, but potentially that's his choice of trying to distance himself from the current regime.
A little bit of Ed.
Yes, Ed Davey going on trade deals, but also, calling on the government to go even further in their winter fuel allowance U-turn, saying, actually, would you now just scrap the whole thing? This is just not good enough. But yes, Ed Davey, I was surprised he didn't go on Israel and Gaza. I thought it might be something that he would push a little bit further on today.
Well,
but
I think
he
you probably nailed that at the beginning, didn't you? Some people may think they've arrived at this position somewhat belatedly, but there's not going to be much dispute from the Liberal Democrats about anything that David Lammy has said this week.
Absolutely not.
But Keir Starmer said he thought Badenoch might have gone in on it a bit.
I thought that Ed Davey would have said, I want the government to now go further, to do more. And I think there are lots and lots of Labour backbenchers that also agree. And you saw there was somebody that asked David Lammy yesterday, how do you sleep at night, to his face? And he was not best pleased with that. So I thought that might be where they would go. But
am I being cynical, asks Ben, when I think that the hands up is going to be part of a social media video clip?
Sorry, what was the question she said again? She said, put your hands up if you
voted for the winter. No, if you like it.
If you like it,
or you support it.
Right. Okay. I don't think it's going to work. Maybe, but because the Tories
Ben's perhaps doing himself a bit of a favour when he uses the word cynical. Maybe he's just being silly.
Maybe. I mean, the Tories on social media try their very best, don't they?
Speaking of silly, something happened last week. I don't know if you remember it, but I think we reacted to it quite differently.
This Prime Minister once spoke of compassion and dignity for migrants and for defending free movement. Now he talks of islands of strangers and taking back control. Somebody here has to call this out, Mr. Speaker. It seems the only principle he consistently defends is whichever he last heard in a focus group. So I ask him, is there any belief he holds which survives a week in Downing Street?
Yes, the belief that she talks rubbish.
Now, I'm going to tell you something I haven't told you off air. I got some jip online, or even on Blue Sky, which is generally a very nice place, for not calling that out. So only 2-3 people were like, God, I can't believe you didn't call that out.
As in calling it out for
being wrong and being out of order. And I actually had done. I did call it out. And I nearly wrote on Blue Sky, I did think it was out of order, but my female colleagues talked me out of it, because Eleanor was nodding away on the other side of the glass that that's absolutely fine.
Maybe
you were
I'm really mean.
But you were very much of the view that was part of the normal cut and thrust of politics. But it did actually make me quite uncomfortable. But I think I probably made the right decision not to throw you and Eleanor under a bus.
So kind, thank you.
Because I think Keir Starmer realised I know he did, because he said this yesterday.
The Prime Minister once argued, and we quote, we should retain the benefits of the single market. Given his recent tendency to dismiss the views of others, what would he say to his younger self?
Mr. Speaker, I think last week I was overly rude and I apologise. I do respect the honourable member. She raises a serious point. We're now outside of the EU. We had red lines in our manifesto on the single market. We've kept those red lines and delivered a very good deal with it.
Can you remember Boris Johnson ever apologising for being rude?
No, he never would do. Maybe I'm slightly desensitised to the rudeness of politicians in the House of Commons, but I do agree with you that that is uncharacteristically rude for Keir Starmer to say something like that.
We did talk during PMQs about how rarely, if ever, Badenoch actually gets under his skin. You never see a frustration or an irritation that we've come
not
to.
Got there yet.
No, but that obviously did, because that is why he misspoke and subsequently apologised. Speaking of misspeaking, it's a shame we don't hear more from 30p Lee. I presume he's not allowed to talk, given that he is now in Farage's party. And what party was he in before? The Tories.
The Tories.
He was, and then Labour before that.
You know what he was? No, he was a Labour councillor first, then the Tories, and then Reform.
And now Reform. I wonder where he'll go next. Possibly Ben Habib's new outfit. Have we had
true.
any word on that yet?
No, I haven't heard
Okay.
that.
So Keir Starmer helping out with the multiple choice round in the Commons a few moments ago.
The answer. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker, keeps telling his gullible backbenchers, those over there, that he's deported 24,000 people from this country since he came into power. But he won't say who these people are. Now, it's my guess that they are people that came on work visas, students, and they are simply overstayers. But I'm willing, Mr. Speaker, to be proved wrong if you can answer one simple question. How many of these people that he's deported are failed asylum seekers that's come on small boats or on the back of lorries? Answer the question.
Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, I'm very proud that we've removed over 24,000 people. That's the highest record for nearly 10 years. We're taking other measures to get back control of our borders, including the Borders Bill, which gives our law enforcement enhanced powers, including terrorism-like powers. What did his party do? What did he do? He voted against them. And I'll tell you why he voted against them. Because they don't want to fix this problem. Because it benefits them. It benefits them not to fix it. Party before country. It's very good he's standing in for the member for Clacton, I have to say. There was no sign of him yesterday at the EU state. He was the first through the E-gates somewhere to south of France. Nice work if you can get it.
First joke was better than the second one.
Yeah.
So he is in Nice with his trotters up.
Is he? I just asked somebody about half an hour ago, where is he? Where is he? There is a rumour that he is in the south of France, but I
When
can't
is
confirm
recess?
it.
When is Parliament in recess?
I think it's meant to be in recess on Friday, so it does beg the question, why did he not just go away next week?
Or shall I take a punt on that?
Oh.
I suspect he's got some lucrative work lined up in the United States of America or something like that, and so he considered he'd squeeze his holiday in now. Yeah, no, so he'll squeeze his holiday in now while he's supposed to be serving the people of Clacton in the House of Commons, and then when he's actually on holiday, for which he still receives his salary, of course, as he will do this week, he can go off and do, because it's easier to claim that I need a holiday than it is to claim that I need to be in America cozying up to the kind of people who don't know what habeas corpus is. I don't know, I could be wrong. It's just nice to think out loud.
We should petition MPs for a new law to ban them from going on holiday in non-parliamentary recess time.
I'd be up for that. Certainly ban them from doing I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here.